This is your First Alert Weather Breakdown, a deep dive into how weather works with meteorologist Evan Thomason.
Hey, good morning. It's First Alert Weather Breakdown time on this Thursday. Hey, I'm First Alert Meteorologist Evan Thomason again. Welcome on in. It's another great day, glorious day to be on the First Alert Weather Breakdown. Quiet weather around in regards to the actual skies. The only thing that we've had around of note on that feature has been the fog. It has been incredibly foggy, I will say, in the past 2 mornings, especially across areas around Natchitoches and Nacogdoches. It's gotten a little bit into Shreveport, especially this morning, but nothing too bad, especially because, yesterday some of that fog caused a major traffic accident that caused a big backup and a big road closure on I-49. This was yesterday. I-49 had a big shutdown on I-49 northbound around DeSoto and Natchitoches Parish yesterday morning. That unfortunately left somebody dead, but completely closed off the roadways. But I think it was a span of 8, 9, 10 hours. It was a long cleanup process around there. And they attributed the crash there is what I'm trying to get to, again, due to the fog that happened. And again, this was yesterday morning. So this morning, still the same thing. Thankfully, we haven't received any major traffic accidents, at least as of my last check about an hour ago. But point is, we've been mostly good along with that. But, boy, the fog has been thick, and it's been there. I will say, I think that happens maybe again for tomorrow morning. Tomorrow, I think we get a lot more widespread cloud cover instead of fog. But we'll see, and we'll keep you first alert about that. Besides that, the rain still stays away. It's where is it? It's completely leaving us bone dry and kind of putting us back into this days of drought in a way in throughout the region, because not only have we had no rain here for quite some time now, but we don't have any rain still for the next several days here coming up for you. But the big thing to note is the big cool down, the next cool down on the way. Remember, I think, what day was that? We had a big windy, cold day about a week or so ago. Point is, we got that coming back into the region here for this coming early week, part of early week next week. That'll be all part of our local forecast here for the day today. That's on our rundown. But our main exclusive content, we've got a good one again here for you Thursday. We have a Met Chat. First time we've had that in a while. For those of you who don't know what a Met Chat is, hey, don't worry. We're here to explain it for you. It essentially involves a meteorology chat that goes beyond just me talking to you the whole time. We have me, CJ Cartledge, and Chief Meteorologist Matt Jones, all three of us on a recorded Met Chat that we recorded yesterday for this very podcast here for the day today. Will last about 15 minutes, and we essentially recap what Hurricane Melissa did. Me and Ashley spoke about that live and how you could help those who have been greatly impacted by Hurricane Melissa. But in this Met Chat, we went into more of the science and meteorology speak of just how historic of a storm this really was. How far did it rank up there? What were some of the measurable moments that we remembered a week ago? And, always, you can help those in need, because even though it's been over a week, it still is left a lingering effect that will honestly last years, because this kind of a historic storm alters the landscape that is so difficult for any storm to do, and it's wild. That island just completely decimated, honestly, by that eye wall. Category 5, one of the strongest hurricanes in memory. Again, we'll go into more details on that later and just how bad it was. Just get that kind of stuck in your head, honestly. Kind of a looming, dark feeling. Honestly, it is. It's kind of a gloomy feeling across areas of the Caribbean islands, kind of recovering from this kind of situation. Anyways, we'll go into that topic later. For now, let's get into your forecast here locally in the Arklatex, as I'm getting that out here for you shortly. There we go. Beautiful outlook into downtown Shreveport here for you. It is a beautiful day once more here for your Thursday. Same thing over into our John Harvey Toyota Skycam there into Bossier City across the river. Temperatures nice and comfortable now at 10:30. And to be fair, this is kind of ominous, because I know we've had usually cool temperatures around this time of day, especially in recent memory. which kind of means if you have comfortable temperatures now, what are we going to have for the rest of the day? I mean, we still got 6-7 hours of daylight left to continue to heat things up. Highs today are expected to be, yes, above this. So it could be a very warm afternoon. Now, summer heat, no, absolutely not. It is November, but we still could, especially for those of you working outside here for the day today listening to this, you could break a little bit of a sweat later on in this afternoon. But currently temperatures 72 in Shreveport, Texarkana, 66 in DeQueen. Hey, great time to get out about, maybe run an early lunch errand before temperatures continue to ramp up. Here's the big story of note. Here's our science talk, I guess, of this weather forecast before we get into more specifics about temperatures and also about what's going on with our skies as well. We have warm air piling in here all the way through Saturday. Check this out. This is 3 days from now. Warm air still trapped here underneath a cold front that, in a way, even now is kind of staying off to our north. But here comes a cold plummet on the way, and that's going to be impacting not just the Arklatex, but many areas around us, especially, I will say, the east side of the United States as a whole is going to get plummeted by this Arctic cold air. This is coming way out of the north. We're talking Canada, Arctic. You can even argue this is coming out of the Arctic Circle in a way. Bitter cold air that essentially is going to start transitioning into the Arklatex here. For Sunday morning. Sunday morning is when this cold front comes on through. This is going to slide down southward. Cold air is trickling on in throughout the day on Sunday, limiting how how warm we get here for Sunday afternoon. And then especially for Monday, that's kind of the peak of the cold conditions around the Arklatex. That's really going to limit how cold we get and limit how warm we get in for that afternoon, which it is going to be a cold day for Monday. Brace it. It's going to be here, at least for the beginning of this work week. Now let's get a little more into the science of kind of the weather pattern of how this happens. I want to go just a little more in depth about this because we are right now having this warm air because nothing out of the north, no cold air out of the north is able to escape down here because of this jet stream. Jet stream kind of controls the bulk of the weather. Where does our air originate from? As of right now, we're kind of in the orange. You see the orange shade? All the wind moves parallel to these black bars, and essentially we're getting our warm air kind of out of, say, New Mexico, Texas, and if you go even farther, you can come out of Southern California and Arizona. The point is, this is all very warm air, especially for November. That this is keeping us very warm underneath this jet stream, which still stays trapped, was essentially trapping the cold air up north, at least for the rest of the work week. But you will start to notice, even beginning tomorrow on Friday, you start to see the jet stream dipping down, which means, in a way, we are starting to see the cold air plummet into the United States. You can kind of look at that in areas of like Minnesota, so to speak. We stay warm here all the way through Saturday until Sunday and Monday. That's when the cold air comes really into fruition around the Arklatex, because guess what? You are getting cold air that's wrapping up around Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. That cold air, look at where that's in. It's in the yellow shade. Look at where the yellow shade goes. It goes technically south of Shreveport in the Arklatex. So where is our air originating from? It's originating from the Arctic cold Canada, which is already well into winter, you could even say, so to speak. This is traveling down, straight down the jet stream, and it's got a highway targeting the Arklatex. We're getting that cold here for your early part of the week next week, and it's going to really start on Sunday and roll in some bitter cold temperatures, especially for the morning hours of Monday and Tuesday. Now, the real impressive thing, too, is that this jet stream is going to dip down very briefly here for a day or two, and then by the middle of next week, we pretty much cut off our cold air supply almost entirely once we get into Wednesday. And look where we're at. We're in the orange shade. We're getting our air back in from, say, Vegas and Southern California to quickly warm us back up into the middle to late part of next week. There's some extended highs that have our highs back into the 80s, believe it or not, in for the second half of next work week. Which is amazing. All right, anyways, let's see here. Temperatures. So let's get into some actual numbers is what I'm trying to get at. Highs today, upper 70s, lower 80s. Kind of similar to what you had out yesterday. And to be fair, if anything, high temperatures could actually warm up a little bit more, especially once we get into Friday and Saturday here for you. And believe it or not, that doesn't just happen for afternoons. Our mornings get warmer. We've had this morning warm temperature, a warm trend, I should say, lasting all week long. We had our coldest morning of the work week on Monday, and we've been steadily warming it up since then, just a little bit by bit here every single day. And by the time you get into tomorrow morning, you're waking up to temperatures only in the 60s. So you only need a light jacket at that. Here to start off your Friday morning. It's not going to feel chilly, really, by any means, here for the start of your Friday. Then you get into Friday afternoon. I mean, there's some highs like in Nacogdoches around 84 degrees here for tomorrow afternoon. Yeah, some of our highs could pick up into the mid-80s here for tomorrow. We're not reaching 90-degree territory. It's not going to be sweating weather, so to speak, here for either Friday or Saturday. But, again, it gets a good bit warm still here. For Friday and Saturday afternoon, I think you get the point. We still have some fairly warm mornings for you in store here for the weekend as well. But then the big story of things is how cold does Monday get? Because as we just mentioned earlier, peak of the cold conditions kind of settles in place finally on Monday to start off next week. We have highs. These are high temperatures, only in the 50s. I mean, it's not even like mid to upper 50s. It's mostly low 50s, especially in the spots like Texarkana, the Queen, Minden. Keep in mind, like the last very cold day we had around here just a week or so ago, chilly day at that, it was windy. The same thing as expected for Monday and a little bit for Sunday as well. So it's going to be cold and windy all day long. Essentially, it's going to be jacket weather here throughout Monday. Now, if that's the afternoon temperatures, it kind of begs to the question of how cold is it going to get here for Monday morning? These are the future feels like temperatures for, yes, Monday morning. Those temperatures are getting down into the 20s. To be fair, these are feels like temperatures, which thoroughly means you're taking into account not only the temperature but the wind. In this case, it's the wind. Usually when we talk about summer feels like temperatures, you're incorporating both the temperature and the heat itself plus the humidity. When you're talking about winter feels like temperatures, it's how much is the wind, how much is the cold wind really affecting this temperature, so to speak. And, I mean, just, actual morning lows are probably going to be down into the low to mid-30s, but when you have a wind that's going to be barreling at 20 miles an hour, continuously bringing in that colder air, you got feels like temperatures around this. So this is going to be heavy coat. We're talking probably the kitchen sink of layers for you, especially because you're not going to be used to this here for the start of your Monday to Tuesday morning. And that's also the thing. It's the start to the brand new work week. So please don't forget about this over the weekend and then walk out the door on Monday morning going, oh, my goodness. I think you get the point. Don't want to be shivering. Stepping on out of the door there for your Monday morning, and then you forget about all the layers, and then you're in a rush to get everything, the jacket. I mean, this is everything. Again, you'll probably need gloves maybe even driving to work with that steering wheel being pretty cold. Yeah, that car can get pretty chilly there for the start of your Monday morning. Also, maybe prep up some time to warm it up, too, so you're not just walking into your car, sitting in the driver's seat, and then walking to essentially an ice box. I think you get the point. So those are the morning temperatures pretty much for Monday and Tuesday morning before things do start to warm up, especially our mornings start to warm up a good bit more once we get into Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday again, that's next work week. Future track here for you. I haven't mentioned too much about this, and I've been having most of the time spent on temperatures because there's not too much on the future track. There's a little bit of cloud cover coming tomorrow morning, but cloud cover, not rain at all. It could give us a little bit of fog again here for Friday, but I don't think it's as likely. I could be wrong. We'll see. And we'll obviously keep you first alert, but still not much in terms of rain over the next 3 days and, the next 7. So guess what? Weekend is looking fantastic. That includes your Friday night football forecast, and this happens before the cool down. So football will not be freezing there for Friday night. Football is going to be great. I really see no realistic chance of rain there for your Friday night. Maybe a little bit of cloud cover around, but temperatures lower 70s, upper 60s. So you couldn't wish for anything better for a Friday night football game. As for the State Fair of Louisiana, again, that's in town here until, I believe, November 16th. And that is going to be getting us, or at least the next 3 days, almost perfect to get out and walk around the State Fair. I'm going to touch on the warmer side of things, especially in the afternoon with a good amount of sunshine. But those evening temperatures, upper 60s, lower 70s, that should be nice there for you. Again, that's all the way through Saturday. Then Sunday happens. I think this is the weirdest weekend because I think this is as big of a contrast we can get between our 2 weekend days without involving any rain. No chance of rain on either day, and yet the high on Saturday is in the mid 80s, and the highs are in Sunday or in the lower 60s. That's over a 20-degree temperature drop between just 2 days, a single day at that. Very, very wild. 7-day forecast here for you. 81 degrees here today, up to 84 for Saturday. I hope you like roller coasters because not only do we go down to 57 for a high on Monday, but then we go quickly racing back up in a matter of 2 days up to a high of 76 once we get to Wednesday. And again, as I mentioned, the thorough 12-day forecast is trying to put highs back into the lower 80s and for the second half of next work week. So a wide temperature range over the next several days. Stay tuned with us, especially day to day, and see how that temperature outlook is going to play out, especially as we go in, day out, dealing with different temperatures despite there being no rain. The cold front doesn't bring any rain whatsoever. Not a single drop at all. Unfortunately, obviously, that was not the case across the Caribbean. Coming up next, we have our Met Chat, which I love. First time we've had this in weeks. We got the whole gang of us, 3 of us together, me, Matt, and CJ, all 3 KSLA News 12 meteorologists. We're going to go thoroughly over just how amazingly and horrifyingly just horrific and historic Hurricane Melissa was that made landfall just over a week ago. Enjoy this presentation in the Met Chat. I'll be playing It'll be playing directly after a quick commercial break, which will be on after this. Hello, welcome to the First Alert Weather Breakdown. It is the Met Chat. It's the first time we've done this in what feels, honestly, to me like a month, 2 months. I feel like it's been a combo of reasons for that, just to briefly get into that. I think it's been just quiet weather around the Arklatex, which we can appreciate, maybe a little bit of a taste of fall, but nothing too crazy severe weather-wise, and also some vacations that we took.
Yeah.
I escaped to the mountains for a little bit, for a little taste of some fall. I think CJ briefly went home. Matt, you went to Colorado as well. We had similar ideas, Matt.
Yeah, it's a good place to go.
Yeah, fantastic. CJ, you enjoy your trip to home? I think it
Yeah,
was like a few weeks back.
yeah, I definitely did. I went to my highlight of the weekend outside of spending time with family was going to the Commanders and Bears game, even though we lost, And many people out there know that I'm a Commanders fan, but we're struggling this season. I'm still gonna be a Commanders fan without a doubt.
As a Falcons fan, I know everything you were talking about. But
my Broncos are doing fairly well this season, so I'm kind of happy.
They are the
that?
best team in this conversation right now.
Yeah,
Definitely.
Well, that's not saying much. I mean, I feel bad. Like, I know we're not talking about sports right now, but Louisiana really doesn't have a lot of good options right now, no matter what like what sport you look at.
Saints, no.
So
they're the Aints now, as of right now. But anyways, Taylor is back into our Mets chat, our main topic here for today. Big hurricane last week. In fact, one of the most historically bad and most powerful hurricanes at that as well. Hurricane Melissa will make it's definitely making its mark known in the record books, especially now that we've kind of settled into. It's been just over a week from the tropical landfall storm. It made landfall on Jamaica, I believe, Tuesday of last week on October 29th, or excuse me, October 28th, 3 days before Halloween. Kind of the very tail end of the peak of the season, so to speak. Made landfall as a Cat 5. Yeah, made landfall as a Cat 5. That's just incredibly rare to even say, just regardless. And for that to happen on an island nation, me and we're recording this right after me and Ashley were on the podcast here for today, for Wednesday when we're recording this. We're literally talking about how difficult it is to evacuate on an island nation. So just that regard, it was obviously historic for a Cat 5 to make, like, have that impact of a Cat 5 be just on that island nation and surrounding island nations. Just to kind of tailor this into you guys, what stood out to you about this storm and just how historic it was?
I mean, yeah, I guess I can kick it off. I think what struck me was just how rapidly it intensified. Just going from like a tropical storm and then, 24 hours later, hurricane, another 24 hours later, a Cat 5. It just strengthened so rapidly. And I remember looking at those satellite images, and I honestly have never seen a hurricane like that perfectly formed. That eye was just scary looking. And then, of course, max winds of 185. I think that's what it made landfall, with 185-mile-an-hour winds, which I believe, my history is correct. I think it was the strongest hurricane since a Labor Day hurricane of like 1935 that hit the Florida Keys. So, and the pressure was, below 900 millibars, which just means that it had a very low pressure. And then I think what really stood out to me is the fact that the hurricane hunters had to actually abort one of their missions when they went into it, which is kind of rare because, I mean, those planes, when they fly into these hurricanes, those planes are kind of built to withstand that type of thing because they're designed for that purpose. But the fact that the hurricane hunters even had to abort their mission just tells you like how intense it was.
Yeah, I definitely agree with all of everything that you had said, Matt. With the main thing that stood out to me was the people talking about it, like the many different things, like how people had to, or the NOAA, or the not the National Hurricane Center, but the NOAA hurricane hunters had to turn around mid-mission. I heard that was never been done before, and that in itself is pretty scary in terms of how strong that storm was. But yeah, I just thought it was. I also thought it was pretty cool how they captured like pictures within the eye. It looked beautiful. It actually looked pretty beautiful outside of the destruction that went on. It looked amazing. Like it just like, I don't know. As a meteorologist, it just looks really cool. But also at the same time, looking from an outside perspective, like people who are not meteorologists and don't know the science of everything, that's terrifying. You see clear skies over your head, and the next thing you see is a wall of pure destruction, strong winds, heavy rainfall, and just pure destruction. It sounds like the train outside. And for those that are within the eye wall of whoever got hit by the eye wall, I send out my thoughts and prayers to them, definitely, because when I saw pictures of everything that was like torn down and everything, I just looked at it with a heavy heart. It was hard to look at, honestly. But I do want to ask you guys a quick question. If you were one of the hurricane hunters, would you be willing to go into the eye of the storm like that?
No.
No?
I'm not. I don't like turbulence anyway. I'm not a good flyer, so that'd be a big no for me. But yeah,
it's also a no for me. I mean, all that turbulence I saw in the video there, the dude is literally bumping up and down out of his seat. Like,
You know,
I can't imagine that.
but something's got to be said. I mean, they are truly heroes because like they go into these storms like this, and without them, like I don't think people realize. Some people were commenting on Facebook and stuff like, "Oh, why would they go in there? And why are they just doing this for fun?" They're not doing it for fun. Like these hurricane hunters go into these storms to get really valuable information. They basically they go into the storm and they deploy what's called a drop sonde, which is like an instrumentation. So it's like weather instruments they actually drop out of the plane that falls through the storm to collect all this important data. And so honestly, and a lot of the data that the hurricane hunters collect goes into our forecast models. So it improves our forecast accuracy. And without the hurricane hunters, I mean, we wouldn't have as accurate a forecast. And so they are really important. And they really help us collect that data and get a more accurate forecast for the hurricanes.
Mm-hmm.
To CJ's point earlier, it's kind of amazing to look at like these Cat 5 systems and be like, wow, what an amazing structure. This looks so beautiful. But it's amazing to see that obviously over water. And we've seen that now, not to tail this too much in other storms, but we've already seen that, I think, 3 times this year alone. Aaron and Umberto, nobody's going to talk about those storms, even though they were Cat 5s this year. And we could dive in this more on probably a tropical review that we'll do at the end of the year. But just the amount of 3 Cat 5s this year, and finally one obviously made the damage and made its mark known actually on an island nation. So to see that devastation of that perfect eye and see what it can do on top of a nation like that is obviously so devastating for the country, not just for the loss itself. Obviously, there is the loss of life, which is terrible. And there is the damage as well, with lots of roofs and lots of homes scattered to some degree, and a major degree at that too. But just for the actual storm to alter the landscape, especially when it comes to a nation such as Jamaica, where everything is tied in so closely together. The agriculture, their most popular city is Kingston on the east side, which didn't get the brunt force of the eye itself. But I've heard that the west side contains most of their agriculture, and most of that has been kind of wiped away by landslides. Again, this is a system that alterated the landscape. That's so hard to do. Just to push over crops and basically destroy them. I mean, you're destroying millions of dollars. I think I oversaw the damage estimates, preliminary damage estimates in the billions. And this is just from tropical nations. This is devastating their economy. So this is not just let's help out these people and get them back on their feet. This is going to be a multi-year project of where, unfortunately, I wouldn't say start from scratch, but what feels like almost starting from scratch in a certain degree to when it comes to their agriculture and their livelihood, how they make their money, essentially. And the last thing I also want to keep in mind as well is that this is not just Jamaica. Jamaica obviously got the brunt force of it, but this rolled as well through Cuba, Haiti, Bahamas as well. Still is a pretty strong hurricane and affected those same spots to similar degrees with landslides, so much flooding, and that aspect obviously rolling through those nations. And it was quite horrific. And obviously this is still a week out, and we are still kind of putting back in the resources.
Yeah, I mean, and as you kind of mentioned at the beginning of our chat, people were also commenting on most of this is social media that I was seeing, but people were saying, well, why can't these people just get out of the way, like just evacuate the whole island? Well, as you said, it's not that easy because first of all, it's an island. Second of all, there's a lot of poverty. Jamaica is actually an extremely poor island. So like people that don't have the resources, have the money to evacuate necessarily, they don't have any other option. Like they can't get out, because they just don't have the resources, unfortunately.
It's difficult enough evacuating on the continent of the United States in a car. You got all the traffic and all the gas stations that are bombarded, essentially. Just think of that, trying to do that with limited area of where to go. Difficult.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it's really
crazy.
really, really tough.
Yeah, I was watching the track and I was amazed about how some hurricanes can just sit in the water and just sit there and slowly move, but also slowly intensify. And that's the main reason for why it intensified so fast. Just the warm waters, and the more it stayed in those warm waters, the more fuel it got. and it ended up becoming I believe, the third worst hurricane, or in terms of pressure, and the second worst in terms of its maximum sustained winds. It's tied with a bunch of different hurricanes that reach 185 miles per hour winds and 892 millibars, but it's still one of the worst that the Atlantic has ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
And this is, to CJ's point, this is like second to third worst in, again, all of recorded history. This goes back to 1851, which is, yes, they even kept records of hurricanes way back in the late 1800s. So
and, the rapid intensification, the rapid intensification thing, we should do a whole nother separate med chat about this, which would be kind of controversial, but climate change, 100% a cause of that. We're seeing more of these hurricanes the last 10 years, and especially the last couple years, that are just rapidly intensifying, exploding. They didn't used to do that a long time ago, so that's definitely has to do with some climate change stuff, which we can talk about more later. But
that happened with Aaron, that happened with Umberto, and Evan, I think you forgot to mention Gabrielle also became Category 5 too this year.
Oh, 4.
Yeah, 4 major hurricanes. Yeah, or at least it was major hurricane.
Yeah, we definitely had it. Yeah, it was, and that's interesting. I know we're getting long on this, but everyone in the U.S. is like, oh, it's a super quiet season. Well, yeah, it was for us, for the United States, but that doesn't mean it wasn't an active year, because we had major hurricanes, like big hurricanes out there, but they just didn't hit the U.S., thankfully.
Yeah, just based on the direction of where they were going. That'll be an interesting aspect to talk about. Probably, as I said, I probably want to do a Met chat, just recapping all of tropical season, which obviously this is going to be the major highlight, the major bullet point. But there's still a few other little systems that obviously did some stuff too that we'll talk about at a future date. But boy, Melissa, obviously it's been a week, and I will say, just to kind of wrap all this up together, I believe there's a website. I think it's called supportjamaica.gov.gm. Sorry, not GM. JM. I'll put it up on the screen on the first with a breakdown while we're talking. But you can just go there, and it's just a directory. It's a direct government website that leads into the directory from everything that you can possibly do to help. Different supplies, money, how can you help in certain ways, that kind of thing. So if you want to organize a group together, or just you yourself help in any ways, please do so, honestly, because those are people that need it the most, and we always stand up to those in need, especially for myself, for any victims of when it comes to natural disasters from things like this. So it's wild world. Wild Melissa, especially towards the end of the year. Again, this happened almost 3 days before Halloween. 3 days left in the kind of the peak of the season, so to speak. Kind of, to be fair, it was a quiet October and a quiet late September, not gonna lie, in terms of named storms, and then this one just happened. So yeah, so many records broken, and obviously this will be down for the record book certainly, and certainly get its name retired here shortly as well.
Oh yeah.
Y'all got any other pointers? I think that's all I got.
That's all I got.
Yep, that's all I have too.
Fair enough. Yeah. Obviously, we wish the best for everybody in that scenario, and we'll continue to keep tracks on how it's going over there, certainly as well. But anyways, thank y'all for joining me on the first one with the breakdown. Two of y'all, Chief Meteorologist Matt Jones and DJ Cartledge. Again, great to have y'all back on. We'll see you again on another later pet chat coming on up in just a few more weeks down the road. We'll see. Looking forward to cooler temperatures down the road here. Hopefully y'all are fans. I think y'all are.
Yeah, it's all right, I guess.
I know CJ doesn't like the cold. What are you talking about?
Not really.
He always has our space heater blasting in the weather center.
Every day.
Every single day. Even in the summer.
Every day. It gets cold in there.
Anyways, we'll talk to you later. Peace out. Have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye. Welcome on back to the podcast desk here on the first of the breakdown. Again, thanks for watching this Met Chat. I really appreciate it. We'll probably get another one, as mentioned, going here next week. Kind of we haven't really gone over what's happened during the summer months. We did have a little bit of a drought, a little bit of a low period. That'll be a topic for a Met Chat. I do want to, as aforementioned in this Met Chat as well, go over how tropical season was as a whole, including going over Melissa. Some interesting other pointers about tropical season itself. We're talking about, you remember the flooding in central Texas? That was from a tropical system as well. So technically, there was one system that did affect, from the tropics, that did significantly affect areas of the United States. So we could dive into that in a later Met Chat too, and maybe get a good preview for winter going here in the process as well in a future podcast. But anyways, that is it for the day today. We have gone past 11 a.m., which is usually what we try to end at, give or take, but sometimes we go a little longer, especially on a good topic like this. Tomorrow, Friday's episode of First Alert with a Breakdown. Last day of the work week here for tomorrow. It's a Friday in fall, so I think you know what that means. We do have, for those of you who have been around, we do have a football forecast lined up for you tomorrow. Andrew Wellman will be back here again tomorrow. Third straight week he'll be back. I love having him on. And we just talked not only about the forecast in and of itself, but we kind of break down each and every game, each and every local Arklatex team, whether it be high school sports, whether it be college sports around here. I think we got 2 or 3 weeks left in both of those seasons, and then we get into NFL as well. To be fair, Cowboys are on bye week this week. That's why Dak Prescott is supposed to be at Houghton High School, I believe, tonight, potentially. Might be changes to that, but I think he's supposed to be honored. But anyways, Cowboys are on bye week this week, but the Saints do have a forecast, or the Saints do have a football game this Sunday. We have a forecast for that as well coming up later. Anyways, that's tomorrow's episode of First Alert with a Breakdown. Today's is done. Have a great rest of your Thursday. Enjoy the sunshine, and I'll see you again here tomorrow. Have a great rest of your day. I'll see you tomorrow, 10:30. Be there. Same time, same place. Be there. Be square. And most importantly, stay weather aware. Have a great rest of your day. Peace.